And good afternoon, Dodger fans. Happy October 30th to everyone out there listening today. You're listening to the Incline Dodgers podcast. We're doing a special one-off World Series pregame show. And if all things go nice accordingly tonight, we'll do a post-game show and hopefully pop some champagne. But don't want to get too ahead of myself right now. You're listening to Kevin Klein speaking. And drop below in the comments how you're feeling today. Give me some predictions. Game 5, your Los Angeles Dodgers still have a 3-1 series lead in this World Series. Dodgers Yankees presented by the Fox broadcast booth and the shit panelists of Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. But thankfully, we get Joe Davis in the broadcast booth, who's been doing an awesome job calling these Dodger games. So we got a rematch of Game 1, Jack Flaherty against Garrett Cole, and I'm very excited for this matchup. Appreciate everyone that's going to tune along in the chat. We'll get to all your guys' comments, drop questions, drop predictions, anything you guys want me to read off. I'll definitely get to it. Let's just have fun here for 30, 45 minutes. We're going to just preview tonight's game, talk about last night's action, get into kind of some of the controversy that took place in Game 4 and some of the idiots that emerged from the shadows. The Yankees crowd, there's been a few fans in particular that have just kind of stuck out as awful scumbags. And I know it's not reflective of the entire Yankees fan base, but there have been some sickening people that have made a name for themselves over the last few days. And it's pretty appalling. I thought Padres fans were pretty nasty, but it turns out the Yankees might be the worst of the bunch. There are some sour grapes in that bag, and hopefully we take care of business and can shut these losers up. The Yankees team themselves, much respect to them. They've earned it. This World Series has been pretty awesome so far. Despite it being a 3-1 series lead, the Yankees have definitely battled, and they've been in it in every game. So I'm not taking them lightly. Dodgers got to go out there and take business today. So we'll talk about the pitching matchups. We'll break down the lineups, and we'll get to your guys' comments. So let's see what's going on in the chat right now. Give you guys some love. Hit that like button while you're here. If you're not even subscribing to the Incline Dodgers YouTube channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Appreciate all you guys tuning in right now. So Jacob Perez, thank you for streaming. Thank you, Jacob, for tuning in live. Young West, Yankees tried to yank their way to a World Series. SMH. Oh, yeah, we'll get to what he means there, but no doubt about it. Young West also says, Dodgers win 5-3. Mookie's fire is lit after yesterday, and we win. We love your live streams, Kevin Klein, and we will be champions today. Jacob, I love the confidence. Thank you so much. Dennis Gonzalez, Yankees suck. Yankees suck. Daniel Barry, sports highlights. Happy Wednesday. It is a happy Wednesday. It's the day before Halloween. Don't know if anyone's got Halloween parties they're attending. If anyone's got costumes that they're excited to be daunting tomorrow, feel free to drop below in the chat what your costume you're going to be wearing and what theme you might be going with this season. Craig Osterberg, hope Jack is healthy. No doubt about it. We will talk about Jack Flaherty and kind of what to expect from the Dodgers stud pitcher tonight. Trey B, don't come back to LA unless it's with a championship, boys. Take care of business tonight. Absolutely. Dodgers cannot dick around tonight. They got to treat this like it's a game 7. Garrett Cole, one of the best that there is in the business. They got to get to Cole. They got to get to that Yankees bullpen, which I imagine is running on fumes at this point. Some of these guys have been working hard, like Clay Holmes, but there's other guys like Luke Weaver and Tommy Kahnle that I'm sure are fresh enough to pitch tonight, and the Dodgers haven't done a good job of getting to these guys. I've been disappointed and underwhelmed overall that we haven't gotten to the main Yankees core bullpen pieces. So hopefully they've gotten enough looks at this point where they can get guys like, Clay closers when he's on in all of Major League Baseball, but he lost the closer role this season, and he's had some moments even in the postseason where he's blown some leads, and now it's the Dodgers' turn. If we see Clay Holmes tonight, it's the Dodgers' turn to get to this guy. He is kind of mentally weak at times, and you get a runner or two on base, and there's been a few times where Holmes serves up a meatball, and Tommy Kahnle, another guy, I mean, he just throws changeups. He threw like 60 changeups in a row. I don't understand how these Dodgers players aren't sitting on the changeup and someone hasn't been able to get a hold of one and hit one out of that short porch out there in right field at Yankee Stadium. If the guy is throwing one pitch and you know it's a changeup, how are the Dodgers not completely demolishing that pitch? So maybe the tide turns tonight and someone sits on the changeup, because we've seen Tommy Kahnle firsthand with the Dodgers, and he had a massive meltdown against the San Diego Padres a couple years ago. So I feel like one of these relievers are very vulnerable, and hopefully fatigue gets to one of these guys. Aaron Nedick wants a World Series clinch in the middle of Yankee Stadium as payback for that dude who pulled away Mookie's glove. That would be absolutely sick and sweet revenge. I want to win this thing at Yankee Stadium for a variety of reasons now. But after all the disgusting fans that have risen up for the Yankees over the last few days, winning in Yankee Stadium would be very sweet right now. We don't want to bring this back to Dodger Stadium for a game 6, let alone a game 7. So let's take care of business tonight. We're going to talk about the matchups and kind of preview what to expect in this game. Rebecca Michelle David, what's up? Go Dodgers. Thank you for tuning in, Rebecca. Appreciate you. Craig Osterberg, do you think Muncy should be replaced? No way. They should not replace Max Muncy, but I am surprised they didn't move him down in the lineup just a little bit. But we'll talk about Max Muncy and all that. And then the last question, Steve Moore, we go into the Incline meetup at the parade. I'll fly to LA for that parade. Oh, I will 100% be in attendance for that parade if it happens. So first of all, the Dodgers got to take care of business. And if the Dodgers win this whole thing, I'm going to 100% be at that parade. I'll drop below in the Discord, maybe a meetup. So I'll drop the link right now if you want to join our Discord channel. And yeah, I'll be at the parade. We can try to meet up, everyone hang out. I've never been to a Dodgers parade because I wasn't alive the last time the Dodgers won a World Series in a non-COVID year. And then when the Dodgers did win the World Series in 2020, obviously there wasn't a parade. I didn't go to the Rams parade. I haven't gone to a Lakers parade. So this would be my first ever Los Angeles Sports Championship parade. With that being said, the Dodgers still have to take care of business. So let's get into we'll get into the matchups first, and then we'll talk about last night and kind of all the things that pissed me off. So Jack Flaherty, Garrett Cole, those are your pitching matchups. This is the exact pitching matchup we saw in game 1. Jack Flaherty, the hometown Los Angeles kid, was sensational in Los Angeles, but now he's tasked with a new challenge, and that's pitching well in Yankee Stadium. And if you remember the last time Jack Flaherty pitched in the city of New York, it didn't go very well for Flaherty. I believe he gave up something like 8 runs in 3 innings to the New York Mets, and his velocity was down. Typically, we see him throwing anywhere between 93 and 95 miles per hour, and he was throwing about 90 miles per hour against the Mets and ultimately got shelled. Garrett Cole, on the flip side, going for the Yankees tonight, his velocity typically was about 94, 95 miles per hour. And then out of nowhere in game 1 of the World Series, he was throwing 98, 99 miles per hour at times, which I was very surprised to see, because I thought Garrett Cole had velocity dip issues because of the elbow injury that he had been dealing with throughout the 2024 campaign. But ultimately, Garrett Cole looked very good. One of the big criticisms that Aaron Boone got after game 1 of the World Series, obviously the Nestor Cortez decision is the most brightest and glaringly obvious mistake. But I think mistake number 2 that a lot of critics were calling Boone out about was pulling Garrett Cole maybe a little bit too early in the World Series game. Garrett Cole overall was smooth sailing. He went 6 innings, just 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. Pitch count wasn't even anywhere close to 100 pitches at that point yet. So he could have probably easily pitched the 7th inning, and then his pitch count might have hit 100. So we'll see if Aaron Boone bounces back tonight and has a longer leash on Garrett Cole. But obviously, Garrett Cole is a big game pitcher. He has not won a World Series in his major league career, because the last time he had an opportunity to win a World Series. That would have been in 2019. And the Houston Astros choked to the Washington Nationals. And Garrett Cole was just absolutely livid because AJ Hinch at the time didn't turn to Garrett Cole at all to come out of the pen in game 7. And instead they went to, I think, Will Harris or someone who gave up the big home run to Howie Kendrick, if my memory serves correctly. And then Cole ultimately left the Astros in free agency to sign with the Yankees beginning in 2020. And this is obviously now the first World Series the Yankees have been in since 2009. So pulling up some home and away splits for Garrett Cole. If you look at Garrett Cole's away splits, he had a 2.49 ERA on the road this season, and that kind of adds up because he pitched very well at Dodger Stadium. And being from Southern California himself, I'm sure Garrett Cole had a lot of motivation to go with the fact that it was also the World Series, but I'm sure Cole had a number of friends and family in attendance. Now he goes to his home stadium, Yankee Stadium, where he actually hasn't been the same pitcher this season. He's 3-2 with a 4.31 ERA over 9 starts, 48 innings thrown, just 48 strikeouts, so literally a strikeout an inning, 5 home runs allowed, a 1.27 whip. So Garrett Cole has not been the same pitcher at Yankee Stadium as opposed to being on the road. And that kind of checks out because Yankee Stadium is definitely more of a hitter's paradise. We saw that with Will Smith last night. That wouldn't have been a home run in 29 other stadiums, but at Yankee Stadium, it was a home run. So one of the approaches that I need to see from the Los Angeles Dodgers is the same approach that they had in game 1. I feel like the Dodgers actually had the right approach against Garrett Cole. They just got unlucky at times. They overall, from a bat bit perspective, hit Garrett Cole quite well. They made contact with most of his pitches, very few whiffs. Garrett Cole only had 9 swings and misses, as opposed to Jack Flaherty in game 1 that had 19 swings and misses. And for an example, some of these flyouts and groundouts were hit very hard. They just didn't result in base hits for the Los Angeles Dodgers. For example, Shohei Ohtani had a 106 mile per hour flyout against Garrett Cole. Tommy Edman was able to rope a double for 106 mile per hour double off the bat. But then you had guys like Gavin Lux who hit a 104 mile per hour flyout. Freddie Freeman, 104 mile per hour flyout. Mookie Betts, 98 mile per hour ground out. And so for the Dodgers, they don't need to change things here. I'm sure Garrett Cole is going to mix up his pitch mix because that's how you keep hitters off balance if you're pitching a second time in a series. I feel like Sean Manaea, for example, tried to go with the same exact tactic and it completely backfired. So if we look at what Garrett Cole did in game 1, we're going to kind of have to compare and see how he's going to approach game 2. In game 1, Garrett Cole mostly relied on his four-seam fastball. Garrett Cole threw the four-seam fastball 50% of the time. Then he went to his secondary stuff. 15% of the time, he threw a slider. But then he also tried to throw more heat stuff. 15% of the time, he went with the cutter. So 65% of the time, Garrett Cole was trying to rely on his first stuff. Everything else was secondary. Garrett Cole, I don't think is going to throw as many fastballs today, maybe because he's going to realize the Dodgers will sit on that fastball, because I think, in my opinion, that's the best way to get to Garrett Cole. So 15% of the time he threw sliders, 13% of the time he threw curveballs. Everything else was heaters from Garrett Cole. Jack Flaherty, big question with him is obviously going to be, how does Flaherty look on 4 days rest? Because the last time the Dodgers used Flaherty on 4 days rest, I just talked about it, he got shelled by the New York Mets. But this is it for Flaherty. This will likely be his last start of the season. I don't foresee them using him any more times out of the bullpen or starting in a game 7 if necessary. And so for a guy like Jack Flaherty, you are literally at the end of the finish line. You get to lay it all out there. This might be his last start ever for his hometown team with the Los Angeles Dodgers, because he's going to be a free agent as soon as this World Series concludes. And you can't predict where Flaherty is going to sign in the offseason. There are going to be a number of suitors lining up for this guy. And if Jack Flaherty wants to add a few million to his bankroll and increase that bank account, then you definitely know Jack Flaherty's motivated for a million reasons tonight to go out there, pitch with his heart out, wear it on his sleeve, continue to throw with the passion that we've seen from this guy ever since he put on a Dodgers uniform back in August. Flaherty was actually had a much different approach than Garrett Cole. The pitch that Jack Flaherty threw most of the time was actually his curveball. 39% of the time he threw the curveball, and there was only one curveball that was a mistake pitch, and Giancarlo Stanton happened to get a hold of it, and that was the 2-run home run. Besides that, nobody could touch the curveball. Aaron Judge was striking out. Anthony Rizzo couldn't touch it. Anthony Volpe who couldn't touch it. Obviously, now we know what Anthony Volpe is capable of. After the curveball, 38% of the time, Jack Flaherty threw his four-seam fastball, and then 19% of the time, Flaherty threw a slider. And those are pretty much the three dominant pitches that Flaherty threw. He threw a few changeups, but not that many. Flaherty was basically a three-pitch pitcher in Game 1 of the World Series. And so a couple things we're going to want to keep our eyes out on when we watch Jack Flaherty tonight. Where's that velocity at? If it's back to 94 to 96 miles per hour, then we can feel good about the Dodgers having the electric Jack Flaherty that we saw in Game 1 of both the NLCS and the World Series. If Jack Flaherty's throwing 90, 91 miles per hour, then this is why they punted Game 4. You go to the bullpen ASAP. And we're going to talk about Game 4 in a few minutes, but this is just kind of a quick overview of what the pitching matchups look like tonight. So pressure's on both these starters for different reasons. For the Yankees and Garrett Cole, it's to keep their season alive. For Jack Flaherty and the Dodgers, it's to close this thing out, not get cute anymore, and clinch the 2024 World Series. I appreciate everyone tuning in. So continue to drop those questions and comments, and we'll get to what you guys have to say. If you haven't hit that like button yet, it does me a big favor if you hit the like button, because then it gets more viewers and just continues to help this show grow and make it more accessible for us to give you guys the content that you guys are hoping to have. And we always are open to feedback, and we want to deliver what you guys want to hear. So the plan is for me and Jake to go live after the game, and we'll talk about what went down in Game 5 of the World Series. But in the meantime, we're doing a pregame show. We're going to have fun here. We'll get to you guys' questions. And so let's talk about the starting lineups now for both of these teams. So let me pull up what the Dodgers starting lineup is, give you quick 60, 120-second thoughts on that. Then we'll get to the Yankees lineup and do a quick breakdown of that. So for the Dodgers tonight, no big surprises, but they did move some guys around in the order. Shohei Ohtani leading off for the Dodgers at DH. Mookie Betts in right field, hitting second. Hopefully, World Series MVP to be Freddie Freeman, hitting third at first base. Teoscar Hernandez cleaning it up in left field. Max Muncy batting fifth at third. Kike Hernandez hitting sixth in center field. Tommy Edman, the shortstop, hitting seventh. And Will Smith is catching, batting eighth. And Gavin Lux hitting ninth at second base. So the quick takeaways here. It's the regular guys. No surprises here. Nobody got swapped in and swapped out. But Max Muncy, this is your time to step up, buddy. You are 0 for 12 with 8 strikeouts in this World Series. After the impressive performance that you had against the New York Mets, where he reached base, I think, a record time 17 times in a series and had like 12 consecutive plate appearances where he was able to reach base. And now he has an 0-fer in the World Series. It's been definitely disappointing for Max Muncy. And if you're going to hit fifth, you got to find a way to get on base, work a walk, get productive outs. A lot of strikeouts, 8 strikeouts and 12 at-bats is unacceptable. And so hopefully Max Muncy changes his approach tonight and can do something productive for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani is leading off and 2 for 15 in this World Series. Definitely disappointing given the fact that Shohei Ohtani is the superstar specimen that he is. But ever since that slide after Game 2, it's pretty clear that there's just something not right with Shohei Ohtani. And so I give him credit for just being out there, and he was even able to get a base hit last night. It would be a miracle if Shohei Ohtani was able to hit a home run and just end this thing. But yeah, pure credit to him trying to go out there and play. We don't know the severity of this injury. I feel like the Dodgers have been kind of keeping it undercover. Even a guy like Gavin Lux mentioned that surgery could be on the table, and I don't know if that was a brain fart, or a Freudian slip. We don't know exactly what Dodgers players he was referring to, but we know Freddie Freeman's hurt. We know Shohei Ohtani's hurt. We know Gavin Lux is hurt. So I think once this season comes to a conclusion, we'll get more insight in terms of the severity of some of these injuries. But yeah, Mookie Betts, I'm expecting him to get some revenge today. With the whole Austin Capo Bianco incident and John Peter, I'm sure Mookie Betts is fired up. This guy, you absolutely know deep down, Mookie Betts is furious that these fans would even go that far to touch him, try to rip the ball out of his glove, essentially, commit a minor battery offense against Mookie Betts. And Mookie Betts hates Yankees fans. He started his career with the Boston Red Sox, and they've booed him throughout the years. So I feel like Mookie Betts is due for one or two big hits today. So I think he's going to do something magical today. Uh, Kike Hernandez, he's my home run call today. It seems like anytime Kike Hernandez is in a game 5, whether it's to end this thing or to keep the Dodgers season alive, Kike Hernandez goes yard. There's been a number of game 5s or just elimination games in general where Kike Hernandez just goes off. Look at the 2017 NLCS when he hit 3 home runs against the Chicago Cubs. Kike Hernandez went off in that game 5. In 2019, when the Dodgers and Nationals played a game 5, Kike Hernandez took Steven Strasburg yard. In this season, game 5 against the San Diego Padres, Kike Hernandez took Yu Darvish deep. And at that point, that was a very important run and home run that Kike Hernandez had hit because the Dodgers had needed to take a lead against the San Diego Padres. And for a majority of the game, that run stood up to be a very huge home run. And I don't remember what Kike Hernandez did in game 5 against the New York Mets. I don't think he went yard, but I do remember Andy Paz hit 2 home runs in that game. But yeah, Kike Hernandez is my call to go yard tonight. It doesn't matter who's throwing on the mound for the opposing team. It can be one of the best pitchers in the world. And I just gave you guys some examples. Kike Hernandez shows up in October and he takes these guys deep. So Kike Hernandez, calling it now. He's going yard tonight. We're looking at, we got to cover the rest of the lineup. So Tommy Edman, fine with him hitting 7th. Will Smith, even though he went yard yesterday, he's been pretty disappointing overall in the World Series. 2 for 14. It's been a struggle bus for Smith pretty much this entire postseason. Kind of have to wonder where his legs feel at this point. 3rd game catching in a row. So hopefully he's not feeling the wear and tear and the fatigue. But at this point, he does deserve to be in the 8 hole just because he has not been very productive overall for the Dodgers. And he is swinging and chasing more than I'm accustomed to seeing by a guy that typically is known for having a great eye and great plate discipline as a catcher. And then the guy that's hitting 9th, honestly, he shouldn't even be starting. I'm surprised he's in the lineup today. He's been playing some lousy defense. He can't really hit. I know he got a double yesterday, but for the most part, he's been garbage in this postseason. Or in this World Series, but yeah, postseason as well. He's hitting 1 for 8 in the World Series and pretty much is an auto out most of the time that he's up there. If I was running the team, I probably would have had Miguel Rojas starting at shortstop instead of Gavin Lux in the 9 hole today. Miguel Rojas is also 2 for 4 lifetime against Garrett Cole. Gavin Lux is hitless against Garrett Cole. So hopefully Lux can run into one today and get lucky and maybe he hits the big home run. But yeah, Yankees line up to roll in the same thing that they did in game 4. So Gleyber Torres, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm, Giancarlo Stanton, Anthony Rizzo, Anthony Volpe, Austin Wells, and Alex Verdugo. So got some thoughts on a couple of those players in a few minutes, but let's go revisit the chat. And if you guys drop some questions, I'll get to your guys' questions as well. So let's see. Rebecca Michelle David, although I'm not in LA, will watch the live stream about the parade. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights predicts the Dodgers win 10-0 today. Kane Lee, Shohei needs to stop chasing. He could have walked so many times. This is definitely a very true observation. There have been a few times where Shohei Ohtani is in a 3-2 count, and whoever's on the mound throws a clear ball for, and Ohtani tries a little too hard, swings and misses at ball 4 that results in a strike 3. Ohtani doesn't need to be the hero today. Ohtani can be a hero if he just sits on the right pitch, doesn't open up his swing and start reaching and trying to chase out of the zone. I think his shoulder isn't all there and not right at all. So he doesn't need to force the issue. Let's see if Shohei can get on base and just set the table, work the count, get it up so that your guys Mookie Betts and Freeman and maybe Teoscar get a hold of one tonight. And honestly, I think one of the keys tonight, whoever scores first probably has a good chance of winning this game. If anyone can connect for a 3-run home run, that might be enough to clinch it right there. I don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. I think every run is going to be coming at a premium tonight. That means the Dodgers defense needs to really step up. We can't afford to give any extra outs. No chance at all. So the defense needs to clean it up. We got to make sure all our pitchers don't give free passes to the Yankees as well. That's just another issue that has really irked me is the Dodgers have hit way too many Yankees in this series. They've issued way too many free passes. So hopefully our guys, a lot of these guys are fresh, bring their A stuff tonight. Chris Dudley, big bad Jack Flaherty only got to go 3 good innings with these monsters we have in the bullpen. That's a fair point by Chris Dudley. I don't know what the mindset is for Dave Roberts and Jack Flaherty. Does he have a short leash tonight? Does Dave Roberts go with the mindset, we want to get at least 5 innings from Jack Flaherty? Well, I feel like this is definitely the optimal situation for the Dodgers. They've got pretty much all their high leverage arms very fresh. They can go to whoever they want. And so we'll kind of run through the game plan. We can do that real quick. So what I'm hoping from Jack Flaherty tonight, I'm good with 4 innings. If he can get us 4 innings and ideally scoreless, I think that's enough for the bullpen to just do next man up and get this job done. You've got Michael Kopech, who can definitely get 3 outs for you. You've got Alex Vestia, who can definitely get 3 outs for you. You've got Ryan Brazier, who can get 3 outs for you. You've got Blake Trinan, who will probably be the closer tonight. He can get 3 or 4 outs for you. You've got Anthony Bonda fresh. He can get 3 outs for you. There are a number of guys in this pen who are fresh and ready to go tonight. And so 12 outs by Flaherty, I'll take it. If he can get 15 outs, brilliant. For me, the key is just keep the Yankees off the scoreboard. Very short leashes, complete opposite of what we saw last night. The second anyone gets into a jam, pull them, yank them instantly, go to the next guy, change it up on these Yankees hitters. Do not give them the opportunity at all to get the big hit and end this game. Dodger blue for you. If Dodgers win today, when will the parade be? Rumor has it the parade will be on Friday or potentially Monday. So I don't think it's officially announced yet, but they have alerted the sheriffs that there will be a parade, most likely Friday if they win tonight. If they don't on Friday and they have to play on Friday, the parade would probably be on Monday. Dennis Gonzalez, question, Lux in the 9 hole, is this a liability? Anytime Gavin Lux is on the field, it's always a liability. Just not a fan of starting him at this point. I would have gone with Miguel Rojas. I would have even gone with Chris Taylor over Gavin Lux at this point. So hopefully this take ages very well. No, hopefully this take ages very poorly for me and Gavin Lux just goes off tonight. Then he can slide into my DMs and talk shit to me. But until Gavin Lux does something worth bragging about in this postseason, because he's been pretty much trash all of October, he hasn't earned my respect. PG, Max Muncy needs to wake up as well. Absolutely, Max Muncy has been way too silent in this series. It's time to have Max Muncy go yard. This is the ideal stadium for a guy like Muncy, with this pop to go deep. So Max Muncy, step up, please. Bruce Davis, yeah, I agree with you. Max needs to wake up because a bunch of these guys are hurt. Eric Flores, Muncy, and Tio, please show up. This would be a great game for Teoscar Hernandez just to go completely nuclear. I'm surprised just based off how well Teoscar performed in June at Yankee Stadium. I'm surprised Teoscar Hernandez hasn't hit a home run yet at Yankee Stadium. He hasn't really done a whole lot in this series. Did have the big home run in game 2, but in terms of his performance in Yankee Stadium, yeah, he's been kind of underwhelming. Moose 1032. Kevin, didn't see you were on. Let's go Dodgers. Absolutely. Let's go Dodgers. Craig Osterberg thinks Tommy Edman should be batting 4th. Rebecca Michelle David, when would you pull Jack before the first walk? If Jack Flaherty allows 2 on, I would pull him at that point. But at the minimum, he needs to go 3 innings. So once we get to the 4th inning, once he has 2 runners on base, I'm yanking him instantly. But yeah, if Flaherty is out there rough in the first inning and let's say he loads the bases and there's 1 out, you can't pull Flaherty, I don't think, that early in the game. It just wouldn't seem reasonable to expect 25 outs from your bullpen. So at a minimum, Flaherty needs to pitch into the 4th inning. And then from there, that's when you start to get aggressive. At least that's my mindset. Can't speak for Dave Roberts. Bruce Davis, Honeywell can give you 4 or 5 outs. I don't think Honeywell's available today, Bruce. Brent Honeywell threw 50 pitches in 1 inning yesterday. I was hoping we would get the announcement that Honeywell has been placed on the IL and Evan Phillips would take his place on the active roster, but it does not seem to be my day. So it looks like Brent Honeywell will be down today, but there is no chance in hell that a guy who threw 50 pitches and got shelled yesterday is going to have any chance of pitching today. Kike Hernandez out of the bullpen has a better chance of coming into the game before Brent Honeywell does today. So it looks like that's it for the comments right now. So let's get to some topics, and then we'll get to you guys' chats and questions as new ones pop up. So I want to talk about yesterday's game first. So whether you agree with this take or not, I think it's pretty straightforward that the Dodgers punted the game yesterday. Now, there's nothing wrong with a punt when you're up 3-0 in a World Series, but it is always a little frustrating when your team is so close to winning a World Series and you just decide to punt the game away. And now I'm well aware they kind of had their hands tied because they wanted to make sure that they had all their guys available today if there was going to be a today. And so it seems like the Dodgers early on in the game had conceded and accepted the fact that they were going to play a game 5. It's a little risky because there's no guarantees in baseball. Every new game comes with a new starting pitcher. And there have been times in the past where teams lose 4 games in a row. And there's only been one time in postseason history where a team came back from down 3-0. And we all know that was the 2004 Red Sox. And just because your team is up 3-0 in the postseason does not mean you get to hang the banner and say you're the World Series champions. Until you get that last out, eliminating a team, that's when you can say you're champs. So it is a little baffling to me that the Dodgers were so comfortable with the idea of punting the game, but I'm well aware they only have 3 truly healthy starting pitchers, and everyone else is pretty much either long inning relievers or low leverage arms. And so they started the game off with Kasperius, which I wasn't a big fan of to begin with, but ultimately Kasperius only gave up 1 run in 2 innings, but I didn't really like the idea of him facing the top of the Yankees lineup. And he did get into a little bit of trouble, but he did get out of it, but they did get a run off him in the 2nd inning. But the biggest mistake here was going to Daniel Hudson in the 3rd inning. This is not the same Daniel Hudson that we saw in the first half of the regular season. We're almost to the point now where it's kind of questionable that Daniel Hudson's even on this postseason roster to begin with. And you have to give a guy like Hudson a pass because he's definitely up there in age. He's in his upper 30s now, Would not be shocked at all if he calls it a career after this season. Hudson, if Hudson goes out a World Series champion, that's the perfect time to retire. But it just was a very big head scratcher to go to Daniel Hudson in the third inning, a guy who's been struggling and frankly just hasn't had the stuff. And he's missed the last 2 seasons for the most part because of knee injuries. So it's kind of hard to expect Daniel Hudson to be sharp for a full 162 games and then bleed that into a postseason. Um, and Hudson had a great story. I mean, you come back from 2 knee surgeries. You're an effective high leverage arm. He was closing out games for the Dodgers in the first half, but he ran out of gas. Maybe he needs to be driving a Tesla and become a battery operated machine because he's out of gas and he needs a refill. I don't know if the offseason's the cure or it's just time for him to retire. But frankly, it just wasn't the same Daniel Hudson that we saw in the first half. And the first batter he faced, I believe, was Juan Soto. And he actually started this off on the right foot. He struck out Juan Soto. And that's a big statement right there. If you can strike out the best hitter in this Yankees lineup in Juan Soto, then you think, okay, you only need 2 more outs and you got complete command of this inning. But the next batter was Aaron Judge, who has just been a train wreck in the series. And one of the most infuriating things that the Dodgers can possibly do right now is give free passes to a struggling hitter. I don't care if his name is Aaron Judge. You shouldn't let him get on base for free. You have to make him earn it. I would have rather seen Daniel Hudson serve up a meatball that resulted in a solo home run than giving a free pass to Aaron Judge and letting this guy get on base. And ultimately, I'm going to be right because we're going to get to what happens in this inning. But a solo home run at this point is far less effective than what's going to ultimately become insurmountable for the Dodgers. So he hits Judge. Jazz Chisholm then singles. The Yankees are now pressuring Daniel Hudson. The next batter is Giancarlo Stanton. Ultimately, Hudson gives another free pass and walks Stanton. He was wild in that at bat as well. This is where Dave Roberts needs to show a little bit of urgency. You've got the bases loaded, 1 out. You're still leading this game 2-1. All you got to do is get those 2 outs. You're up 2-1. You're playing to win at this point. You should not be keeping Daniel Hudson in this game. You got to go to your pen. I know they had Landon Knack warming up. Wrong move also. If I was the Dodgers, why not have Ryan Brazier be warming up there? Or if Anthony Bonda's fresh enough, why wouldn't you go with Anthony Bonda? Instead, they leave in Daniel Hudson, and he actually gets Anthony Rizzo to pop up. But Anthony Rizzo's playing with multiple broken fingers, so it's not the hardest task in the world to get Anthony Rizzo to pop up. Then he gets Rizzo to pop up. So now you got 2 outs with the bases loaded. You got a second opportunity to pull Daniel Hudson, who's clearly been laboring out there. He's clearly out of gas. He's all over the place. And you leave Daniel Hudson in to face Anthony Volpe, and it results in a grand slam. Punt. That's a punt. No doubt about it. They punted right there. No urgency. The fact that they were okay with letting Daniel Hudson go out there to die, and then after the game, they even said it was always going to be Daniel Hudson's inning. Shame on you. It's a World Series game. You got a chance to close it out. You leave the struggling reliever out there, and it ultimately is going to be the reason the Dodgers lose this game. So that was very infuriating. After that, I really didn't care what they did. I knew it was over at that point. The only way the Dodgers were going to come back is if their bats showed up, and it's just really hard to expect the Dodgers offense to carry you every single night, especially in this series when a lot of them have been really struggling. And I don't think they're struggling because they're in a slump. I think they're struggling because the Yankees just have a lot of good pitchers, and you got to kind of tip your cap and respect the depth that the Yankees have assembled. I mean, Luis Gil is someone they probably should have done a little bit better against. But after that, Boone pulled every right lever. He was going to the right high leverage guys, and these aren't scrubs. They're not fraudulent relievers like Clay Holmes, Canely, Luke Weaver, Cousins. They're all good relievers. They're susceptible to getting blown up from time to time, but for the most part, these guys are going to be on, and it's obviously why the Yankees are in the World Series. So I wasn't expecting the Dodgers to shell any of these guys. It would have been nice if they did, but when you allow your pitcher to give up a grand slam, we saw the Padres series when they let when that inning with Walker Buehler just got ugly. That wasn't on Buehler, but they gave up like 6 runs in an inning. We saw it against the Mets when they let Flaherty go out there and die, and we saw it last night with Daniel Hudson. They let him get shelled. Landon Knack came out. He pitched fine. Gave the Dodgers some nice length out there. So respect to Landon Knack for kind of keeping the Dodgers bullpen fresh at that point. He was able to go 4 innings, just 1 run. So Landon Knack had a really nice bounce back. We all know he gave up a grand slam in game 2 of the NLCS to Vientos. So nice bounce back for Landon Knack. And then Brent Honeywell, it was just a trash performance by Honeywell. Couldn't fool anyone. I think he threw nearly 30 pitches in a row without getting a swing and a miss. Yankees were sitting on him. I don't even remember the last time I've seen someone throw 50 pitches in 1 inning, but they let Honeywell die out there. And his arm's probably cooked from this point moving forward. But Honeywell he's a gamer out there. He's going to go out there and die for his team. So you have to respect him for that. But we know Gavin Lux made a terrible throw, couldn't get the runner at home plate. Just the inning completely unraveled at that point, and Honeywell got shelled, gave up 5 runs. Dodgers go on to lose 11-4. So that covers that game. It was a punt. We move on to tonight. We talked about the approaches. We'll kind of circle back and revisit how to win this game tonight. But we got to talk about the idiots now that really shined last night. So, I mean, I guess even though it happened after the fact, the first idiot has to be the Yankees fan during the Stand Up to Cancer tribute when they showed Freddie Freeman. If you aren't aware, Freddie Freeman's mom passed away with cancer a number of years ago. When they panel on to Freddie Freeman, you can hear in the faint distance of the crowd someone yell, "Freddie Freeman, you suck." So there's one classy Yankees fan right there. Talk about no feel for the moment. That's some bad karma that you got to wish upon someone right there. And the only bad karma I'm wishing upon that Yankee fan is for his team to lose tonight. So there's one asshole. So screw you. I don't know why anyone would ever have the nerve to say such awful things, especially in a moment like that where I think everyone knows someone that's battling or has died of cancer. You've got Charlie Steiner, who works for the Dodgers. He's battling cancer. So screw that fan. Then you got the incident last night in the first inning. Gleyber Torres flies out to right field. Mookie Betts makes the catch, has to go into the stands, and that's where you run into these bozos. Season ticket holders Austin Capobianco and John Peter try to rip the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove. You've got Peter, who's trying to grab Mookie Betts by his wrist. You've got Austin trying to rip the ball out of his glove. Call it battery, call it assault, call it being an asshole, whatever you want to call it. That was just a pitiful disgrace and just a shame that events like this are still happening in this game. They warn you every time. They warn you every time before a game's about to begin. Fan interference results in an automatic ejection and potential lifetime ban from the stadium. And so you would think that everyone would shame these two assholes for essentially putting their hands on Mookie Betts. And I've been in that spot before, and it fucking sucks. When I was in Paris earlier this year, we were walking in Montmartre, or butchering it, but regardless, we were right by the giant white church that sits on the hill, blanking on what it's called. And some scam artist grabs my wrist and he tries to yank my cell phone out of my hand. And it was pretty much nearly the same thing that happened to Mookie Betts. You got one guy grabbing your wrist, and then you got another guy trying to grab my phone out of my hand. And I was able to get out of it. I pushed them away and walked away. Similar thing here with Mookie Betts. Trying to make a routine fly ball, has it in his glove. You got Peter grabbing his wrist. You got Austin trying to grab it out of his hand. And instead of everyone giving these guys the death look and, essentially outcasting them, they get praised as heroes. You got that section rooting for them. You got these guys with big smiles on their face thinking they're heroes. You got some Yankees fans now claiming that they've shifted the momentum, and because of that incident, now the Yankees have momentum in this series. Fortunately, they were ejected from that game. And then, even more fortunately, MLB has already ruled that these guys are banned from tonight's game. So their season's effectively over. We don't know if they're banned for life, but they're not allowed in the stadium tonight. They were issued refunds. And yeah, they won't be in attendance. But what's even more infuriating about this whole matter is you would think the media, who is composed of a bunch of baseball diehards, these guys typically are known for having integrity and value the game over anything else. Instead of basically bashing these guys and, you know, punishing them and, whatever, however you want to phrase it, instead of going the route where you're not giving them attention, instead you got guys like Jesse Rogers of ESPN and Jeff Passan, who decided, let's make a story out of this and let's basically glorify what they did. So instead of discouraging fans from doing these types of things, I think instead they're kind of opening a wormhole. And now more fans are going to be encouraged to do this shit because guys like Jesse Rogers and Passan, to an extent, glorified these guys. They gave them 30 seconds of fame. You got Jesse Rogers taking a picture of these two guys, saying he ran into them at the bar down the street, interviewed them. Apparently, a number of Yankees fans wanted to take photos with these guys and I think get autographs and just all this foolish stuff. And then Rogers writes a whole article basically almost painting these guys as heroes. Then you've got Barstool Sports, who brings these guys on, holds a whole interview video, giving them attention. So instead of these guys being shunned, now they're viewed as heroes. And it's just honestly disrespectful all the way around. Frankly, I don't get it. I don't get why we would want to acknowledge these Yankees fans. And I'll be sick to my stomach if the Dodgers somehow go on to lose this series and those guys are viewed as heroes and somehow the anti Steve Bartmans, essentially, because of their interference. Yankees fans are going to somehow flip this narrative and say these guys are the reason the Yankees came back and won the series. So hopefully the Dodgers don't make this a narrative and we put this whole thing to bed and we're the ones celebrating on the Yankees home stadium tonight as World Series champions. Well, I think there was one other thing I was going to mention. Oh, yeah, just the other thing. I don't think I've talked about it on the show, but like when Ohtani went down with the injury after he got hurt sliding to second base, and you've got wherever all those Yankees fans are with their watch party, and the way they were celebrating, they acted like they just won the game. It was fucking disgusting. So screw all them. I knew some Yankees fans were stupid, but I did not know that there were this many stupid Yankees fans. So that's just ridiculous. So get your guys' final questions in there. Just going to do a quick recap and quick predictions. And last thing before I get to your guys' last questions and kind of close out the show, Alex Verdugo, another idiot. Basically, they interviewed him today. And his exact comments when referring to the incident with the Mookie Betts catch yesterday, he says, maybe one of the most extreme ones, trying to rip a ball out. At the same time, that's kind of New York. It's what you expect out here. That's, I guess, the passion that New Yorkers have. Shut up, Alex Verdugo. First of all, Yankees fans don't even want you on your team. You're going to probably be shipped out once again in the offseason. And I'll add to that, this guy was traded from the Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees. So if your arch rival, that being the Boston Red Sox, is willing to trade you to the New York Yankees, that kind of shows how valueless you are in your career. If the Red Sox were thinking, Verdugo's not a threat, let's just ship him to the Yankees, then honestly, I would be embarrassed if I was Alex Verdugo. You're near the end of your career here, bud. I'll give you 3 or 4 years tops until you're playing in Japan, because with every year you kind of diminish, and I think the leash is getting kind of short on Verdugo. I don't think he'll be a New York Yankee next season. He'll be on some piss poor small market team, and he'll just fade away into irrelevancy. Just gonna go through your guys' quick questions and comments, and yeah, we'll be near the end of the show. So let's see what we've got. Aeronetic, Yanks can't be getting free passes like yesterday. Make them earn their runs. Yes. Eric Flores, Hudson should be playing bingo at a retirement home. He can't pitch back to back. Yeah, facts. Daniel Hudson cannot be anywhere near this game tonight. Moose 1032. Umpires have favored the Yankees the last 3 games per the umpire scorecard. Is that contributing to our lack of discipline at the plate? I mean, the umpires have been pretty bad in this series, but honestly, if I'm being real here, I don't think the umpires have affected the outcome of this game or these games enough to really hold them accountable. Yeah, they've been bad, but for the most part, the Dodgers are kind of doing it to themselves. And it's kind of been the opposite of what we saw against the New York Mets, where they were just lighting up pretty much every New York Mets pitcher. Just been a little uncanny and uncharacteristic. A lot of chasing, not the same plate discipline that I'm accustomed to seeing. So, what I like about the Dodgers, they get Garrett Cole a second time around. Overall, saw him pretty well. They just didn't get the results tonight. I'm kind of expecting even better outcome. So I think the Dodgers are going to put up some runs tonight. At least I'm being optimistic. So let's see what happens. Nando, Dave Roberts better not screw this up. DFA Hudson, according to Nando, don't give him a ring. I mean, that's not fair, Nando. Daniel Hudson absolutely has earned a World Series ring. He had a lot of contributions throughout the season. Just going through everyone's. Moose 1032. I would have punched him for you, Kevin. Bruce Davis. I'm from Oregon, but living in the Philippines. So go Dodgers from the Philippines. Bruce, that's awesome. I've never been to the Philippines, but let me know how that is. I'm definitely curious. Michael Fan, if our fans had done that to Soto at Dodger Stadium, the Dodgers fan base would have been crucified. The double standard is real. Hit the nail on the head, Michael. You are absolutely correct. Eric Flores, will the offense show up today? It's beginning to feel like years 2022 and 2023. Yeah, the offense is going to definitely show up today. Just got to believe. Jessica, didn't Yankees fans throw things at him back then? Shake my head. I know the Yankees have definitely thrown things on the field, and they're classless. Aaron Attic, I do love the dude that had the Freddie Please Stop sign. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Hopefully Freddie Freeman homers for a 5th consecutive World Series game and 7th overall if you're dating it back to the last time Freddie Freeman played in a World Series. Moose 1032, thank you for all you do, Kevin. Thank you, Moose. I appreciate the super chat. Just doing this for the fans. We try not to take everything here too serious. We try to have some fun. And this is all about talking Dodgers baseball. First pitch is about an hour and a half away. So we're almost at a good stopping point here. But yeah, your Dodgers got to close it out tonight. We don't want this thing coming back to Los Angeles. If they do, I'll have to consider going to Game 6. But let's take care of business. Let's win this thing in New York and let's celebrate. I don't know. I haven't been to New York since like 2018, I don't think. So couldn't tell you what bars there are off the top of my head. But hopefully the Dodgers get it done, celebrate in all the New York bars, and pour one out for us fans. Dennis Gonzalez says Verdugo is not allowed back in the greater Los Angeles area. Fair enough. I don't think Verdugo will ever earn the right to be a Los Angeles Dodger again. And then Moose says Kevin's spicy today. Justin Yama says greetings from Lyon, France. We got an international crowd here. We got someone from the Philippines tuning in. We got someone from France tuning in. I love it. Dodgers getting love from all across the nation, all across the globe. The only thing we're missing right now is I don't see anyone in the chat saying we're watching from Japan, but I know that there will be a lot of viewers watching the World Series live from Japan. So I'm expecting a watch party, and hopefully the Dodgers pull it off. We want the highlight tapes. We want the live video feeds of Japan celebrating a Dodgers 2024 World Series. If the Dodgers do this thing tonight, I'll be out on the streets of Culver City, and I'll go nuts. So let's freaking get this thing done. And I'm looking at my notes. I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So basically, keys to tonight. Let's get it short and simple. Jack Flaherty, reminder for everyone, my keys tonight. Jack Flaherty, he's got to go at least 4 innings. Ideally, he gives up no runs. After he goes 4 innings, that's where you consider going to the bullpen. And I don't have an order for you guys, but they know what to do. They know how to deploy these guys. They've been doing it successfully all postseason. So Flaherty, we're going to watch his velocity, and we're going to have a short leash on him. We're treating tonight like it's a game 7. Let's get this thing done. Garrett Cole, they just got to sit on the fastball. I don't expect Garrett Cole to be throwing 98 miles per hour again. I would be shocked, honestly. He's on 4 days rest. I got to hope there's some fatigue that hits Garrett Cole today. I don't truly believe he's 100% healthy. So the Dodgers got to sit on their pitch. Don't chase. Wait for Garrett Cole to throw you something hittable. And you got to put up at least 2 or 3 runs on this guy. And I think that could be enough to get the job done. In terms of the bats, we went through them. Max Muncy needs to find a way to get on base. It's as simple as that. 8 strikeouts and 12 at-bats, unacceptable. Shohei Ohtani, if he's thrown a ball 4, take it for ball 4, bro. Get on base. The next guy's got your back, man. And for the Dodgers pitching staff, let's try to limit the walks tonight. Do not give free passes to these Yankees. Make them earn it. They haven't been killing us for the most part, but they have been able to take advantage, especially in the last game, if you start to give them way too many free passes. So let's limit the walks. Let's not hit their guys. And Kike Hernandez, as a reminder, he's going yard tonight. So thank you guys for watching the pregame show, the Incline Dodgers podcast. I'm going to go enjoy this World Series and get some rest before the game starts. And then you'll see me and I think Jake Reiner tonight for a post-game show. And we'll have some fun, hopefully. So hit that like button on your way out. Drop some comments below.